I call Honi Hauerera.
E nā tātou katoa e te whare. Te tino rangatiratanga, ka ngaro i te ture nei. Te mana o ngā tangata whenua, ka ngaro i te ture nei. Our sovereignty is lost under this law. Our authority as people of the land is lost under this law. Those words were spoken by a strong supporter of the Māori Party, Huirangi Waikere Puru, when the Hikoi arrived to oppose this marine and coastal area bill, and they represent the feelings of Māori throughout Aotearoa, opposed to this racist bill that will become law when the Māori Party votes for it. Mr. Speaker, this is a sad moment for Māoridom, the end of a long and hopeful but ultimately tragic journey that began when 50,000 marched to oppose Labour's confiscation of our rights to the foreshore and seabed in 2004, blossomed when the Māori Party was elected to win back those rights in 2005, whose hopes were lifted by the review in 2009, but sadly betrayed in 2011, when the Māori Party votes against the people who put them into power and in support of the continued confiscation of Māori rights to the foreshore and seabed. Mr. Speaker, 89% of Māoridom does not want this racist bill, but still the Māori Party is telling everyone that this is a Māori Party bill and we are pleased to stand here in support of it. Even though Tariana Turia said that if we were negotiating on what is fair, just and moral, then we would have a very different outcome. Even though when asked who's running the timetable, Te Urero Flavel said national, and when asked who wrote the bill, he said national, and when asked whose bill is this, he said nationals. And even though Rahui Katene said we knew that the test the Court of Appeal put in place was far too high and that few would be able to meet that test. So confused and contradictory are the comments of the Māori Party MPs whose votes will turn this racist bill into law that I struggle to understand why they would do it. But a friend explained it like this, and I quote, "Isn't it amazing how you can become so embroiled in a fight that you don't even notice who you're fighting anymore? You become so defensive you stop hearing the other person's argument, even if it's reasonable. You switch off. You only hear the voices that agree with you. You know deep in your heart that you're wrong. And in those moments when you have only yourself to answer to, you even acknowledge that you might be wrong. But you blindly carry on in your course of destruction because you're stubborn. It takes a huge amount of humility to back down when you've invested so much energy in the fight. But unless you do find a way to gracefully acknowledge that you're wrong, you continue to reap angst and disharmony, and you alienate people that you care about. I think that's where the Māori Party is at. I hope they find the mana they need to step back, refocus, and see who the real enemy is." End of quote. Mr. Speaker, I support the repeal of the 2004 Foreshore and Seabed Act, and I support Moana Jackson's proposal that we take that repeal and simply add to it a 2-year moratorium to give Māori the opportunity to come back with a better deal than this. And in closing, Mr. Speaker, let me just take this opportunity to thank the Māori Party for raising this issue, albeit they gave it up without winning tupuna title, the review panel for the excellent and insightful report, the Minister for fronting hui, although his viewpoint was never accepted, the Greens for their consistent support for the Māori view on this, the 50,000 who marched with us against injustice in 2004, and the 500 who marched for us against injustice in 2011. But most of all, I thank our Māori people for their courage in the face of the continued denial of their rights, for the compassion that they display for others, and for the deep and abiding love they have for this land we call Aotearoa. A love they share with other New Zealanders who I know also care passionately about this land. But a special love that comes to Māori by being born of this land, descendants of a people to whom the Takutai Moana is and always will be a part of their very existence. And although others might say that they have given up on this fight, I pledge to Māoridom that for me at least, this fight will not end until Māori finally have tupuna title to the Takutai Moana that they truly deserve. Tū te ao Māori, tū te rangatiratanga, tū motu hake, Tēnā tātou katoa.
I thank the member. The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.